All right, what's going on, everyone? We got a Dr. Stone stream today, and we got a Marshal King stream today. Excuse me one second. Excuse me. Anyway, Marshal King, Dr. Stone. We got Justin in the chat. Justin, what's going on? Pleasure to have you. Good to see you. I believe we have Blitz Drake, another regular. We got Blazing Boy. Blazing Boy, what's good? What's going on? Peak Chapter. I have not read it yet, so I'm excited to read it. So, interestingly enough, so two things. One, I don't know if it was available before, but you can now read Marshal King on Viz, not just Manga Plus. I thought it was just on Manga Plus, but as of today at least, you can read Marshal King on either Manga Plus or the Viz app. So whichever is more convenient to you. Another note, I'm reading from Viz today, but excuse me. Also, Edens, what's going on? Pleasure to have you. Edens, I did catch up to Radiant this morning. I'm on the latest chapter of Volume 19, unless that's not the latest chapter. I'm on the newest chapter of whatever is available in English on MangaDex. It's been on the Shonen Jump app from the beginning. Okay, see, I was not aware of that. That's good to know, though. I hadn't seen it on Shonen Jump. But if we go to Manga Plus, for anyone who didn't look today, as of today, Marshal King is still at number 10, which is really, really good. Because a lot of times what happens with these newer Jump Plus manga is when they get the first two chapters, they'll be in like top 10, but then after like a month or two, maybe 3 months, they shoot down to like the top 20. Like Centuria is number 16, Drama Queen is 17. Mad is an interesting one because it'll bounce between like 23 and like 19. Which is crazy because between Centuria and Mad, I actually like Mad better. But I can definitely see why Centuria would be more popular. And then another one, well, I mean, there's a lot of Jump Plus manga, but you have Make the Exorcist Fall in Love, has a very vocal community. I don't know how big that community is, but that's like in the 29 spot. You also have Hero Organization, which really isn't that old, is already in 25. So Johnny is better than Jim. Yes, but Jim is just as like American. But anyway, my point that I wanted to make is one, so something to note about Jump Plus right now. So Jump in general. Marshal King is at number 10, which has been true for a while. But something that I noticed today, Dragon Ball Super is at number 4. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it has not been in the top 5 for a while. The top 5 for at least the last month or two has consistently been Chainsaw Man, One Piece, Boruto, Don to Don, and Kaiju number 8. So what happened was Kaiju number 8 got bumped down to number 6, and Dragon Ball Super is now at the number 4 hottest manga on Manga Plus. So what does that mean? That means Dragon Ball Daima was so popular that it got people talking about Dragon Ball again, like we weren't talking about Dragon Ball prior, and now people are going back to the Dragon Ball Super manga. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I think that's pretty cool. As much as I'm not crazy about the Dragon Ball Super manga, Daima finished and a one-shot got released? Oh, I didn't know. Nothing to do with Daima? Was it a one-shot then? Let's see. Super had a chapter recently after a year of nothing. Recently, though, I mean, this is what I'm saying. So, at least according to Manga Plus, the latest chapter is chapter 104, and that was February 19th. A Trunks and Goten field trip? Excuse me. Yeah, it was 2 months ago. I'm saying, so that was 2 months ago. Dragon Ball Daima just finished what, last week? I think enough people got into Daima, and now that it's done, they're like, you know what? I kind of want more Dragon Ball. It said to be continued at the end of the Trunks and Goten chapter. Yeah, I'm not saying there's any kind of connection between Daima and Super. I'm just saying Dragon Ball is popular. Like, people are reading Dragon Ball Super. That's all I'm trying to say. Excuse me, not 2 months ago. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago is what I meant to say. Sorry, I'm in April brain right now. Bro count. Look, man, I'm like a month ahead. I'm already planning for April. So when I see February, I'm like, oh, that was like 2 months ago. But even then, 3 weeks ago, I've been on Manga Plus. Dragon Ball has not been on the top 4. So it's not like that happened as soon as that chapter dropped. This is something that just happened like this week. I'm on Manga Plus every week. I've never seen Dragon Ball in the top 5. Now I was talking about the part about it being a one-shot. No, I know. I'm just saying, I just want to be clear. I'm not implicating that Dragon Ball Super and Daima are somehow connected. I'm just saying, like, excuse me. I'm just saying, my point I'm trying to get at before I move on is Dragon Ball Daima was popular enough and people liked it enough that now that it's over as of a week ago, people are apparently going back to the Dragon Ball Super manga. I'm not trying to say it drastically increased sales or it saved Dragon Ball Super or anything like that. All I am saying is Dragon Ball Daima ended last week. That is a fact. Okay. In like the last month or two, I've never seen Dragon Ball Super in the top 5 on Manga Plus. Now Dragon Ball Daima ends last week, or this past weekend. And now, this week, I look at Manga Plus, and it's in the number 4 spot. And Kaiju number 8 is no longer in the top 5, which is huge. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, moving on, before I get into Marshal King, what did people think of today's Dr. Stone episode? I haven't seen it yet, but don't worry about spoiling me. Obviously, I know what happens. Excuse me. I was in the process of catching up just before the stream, but I'm like 1.5 episodes behind. I got halfway through last week's episode. So I'm still halfway through last week's episode, and then I need to watch today's episode today. But I don't feel like I saw anyone talking about today's episode. At least not today. I want to take a look. I'm going to, excuse me, look at Twitter real quick. Excuse me. I'm not seeing anything about Dr. Stone. I see some people talking about Dr. Stone, but nothing like crazy. Nobody really ranting about the new episode. I'm sure there'll be some kind of reaction, but as of right now, nobody's really talking about the episode. People like the stuff about Chrome. Got some 5 generals moments. So, I mean, nothing crazy about this episode in particular, but overall, people seem to like the episode. Neil says, I need to catch up with Dr. Stone. I've been on an anime and manga break for a while, so I'm getting back into checking out more recent stuff. Case in point, I finished rereading Zatch Bell for the sequel series, and it's amazing. Yeah, I think, I think everyone is kind of going through that right now. Everyone's kind of like taking a break from manga and anime. It's definitely the best time to do it because we're in the winter season, which, at least for this year, like, this is the time, like, if you're gonna take a break from, like, being caught up on all of the seasonal anime, this is the season to do it. Excuse me. We got Fire Force in the spring. We got Witch Watch. What else? We got Windbreaker, if you like Windbreaker. I know we're going to have fall anime. Witch Hat Atelier is going to be huge. So yeah. I know I took a big break for like half a year. I was like, I can't. I was also going through the feels, you know, a bit of a burnout. Life was lifing, and I just didn't have the motivation to really read or watch anything. So I get it. Yeah, exactly. My obsession will come back when Bleach and JJK anime come back. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just aren't into whatever is the current seasonal stuff, so you're like, I don't really care. LL brings up something I completely forgot. Gotchi Akuta somewhere in 2025. Although, no, they did say it was 2025. I forget what I said in my video, but off the top of my head right now, if I had to guess, I would probably say like fall 2025, maybe. The anime that brought me back was Frieren. Well, speaking of which, they just announced that Frieren is coming back a year from now, the winter season of 2026, which is going to be huge because everyone's going to be watching that anime. Anyway, let's talk about Marshal King. I have not read today's chapter. Sometimes I read it before and then we talk about it. I kind of want to try reading the chapters live, especially since I'm going to be setting up my my camera soon for streams, so it'll be a little more entertaining if you can see my live reactions. So at this point, we're going to read the Marshal King Chapter 5. Oh, that's right. He doesn't do chapter titles. He just does Chapter 5, Chapter 6, whatever. Rito got his anime design revealed a couple of weeks ago. His, like, profile? Was there, like, key art? Or, not key art. Oh, yeah, that's true. They did, like, the key visual. Yeah, I know what you mean. Excuse me. Anyway, so let's talk about Chapter 5. So we're on Marshal King Chapter 5. If you recall, all these raiders were raiding the Marshal Institute. They're doing some pretty serious damage. They sneak into the basement of the Institute where the Super Magnum Excalibur is, and when they get there, they come into contact with Jim Godspeed, and they reveal that apparently M. Godspeed had put this raid in motion and set it up so that, the raiders would steal Excalibur, and then they could give it to Jim, and Jim would lead a new age of outlaws and desperados. Finally going to see the handsome Ouji face. I don't know about handsome. Maybe horrifying or breathtaking. Definitely breathtaking. Life was lifing. Raiders or raiding. Ouji is spitting today. What can I say? I'm a man of eloquent speech. Excuse me. So we're getting this exchange between the raiders and Jim. Outlaws will rule this world. Will destroy this eyesore of an academy. Hurry and steal the King Magnum. Then hand over the $5 million reward. I have no money. There's no reward. What's he trying to pull? Like any good marshal, I didn't take the bounty. I am not my father. Excuse me. So this raider thinks he has Jim beat because somebody shot his right hand and he's wearing 50 millimeter composite armor plating. So basically he's wearing heavy armor. Like there's no way you're there's no way you're shooting this dude. So they have a duel. Jim shoots him with his left hand. 6 shots. We're getting this from Dutch. 6 shots in 10 milliseconds. He fired those bullets with extraordinary speed. They're whizzing 80 centimeters away from one another in one straight line. Excuse me. So he sets up a weak spot in the armor with 6 bullets, kind of like in Brave. And then he pulls out his right gun with his destroyed right hand. So he shoots the gun. His hand is like exploding with blood. He fires. He shot the guy's heart, causing the steam engine in his body to explode. So then all of the other raiders are trying to take advantage of the situation, and they go to kill Jim, but then Dutch shoots the other raiders. She says, "On my pride as a marshal, I always repay my debts." Getting lunch, but I'll hop in soon. All right, Party Jams, we look forward to it. Fun fact, today's the 8-year anniversary of when Dr. Stone began serialization. What? Today? I'll have to look that up after I read Marshal King, because I feel like somebody would have noted that. But if that is true, thank you for pointing that out, Justin. Anyway, Jim Godspeed walks on this guy's chest. Like, walks right on top of... He's standing on the guy's chest. Standing over him. That's awesome. He has a pair of, like, Longhorn boots with some kind of print on the bottom with a Texas Longhorn, and on it it says Godspeed, which might be the most badass thing we've seen in this manga. It kind of reminds me of the cousins from Breaking Bad, how they had like the custom shoes. The Super Magnum stored here was used by the first Marshal, the Marshal King. His body was scattered across the world. The arms fell into the hands of M. Godspeed. I will become a marshal. I will track down all the king's body parts and revive that power. Wielding the power of the king, I'll bring an end to the era of desperados. That is my dream. So we get a gorgeous double spread on the final page of chapter 5. I thought this was a really cool chapter. Again, I've been saying it with each chapter. I feel like we learn a little more piece by piece about Jim Godspeed without it being spelled out for us. Close enough. Welcome back, SBR. Yeah, this is a really good chapter. It was, to an extent, more of the same. Jim flexing on people, showing off how skilled he is. We do get the finally, we get to see Dutch actually help Jim. It seems like she finally trusts Jim. Excuse me. And now we have a better idea of what Jim wants to do. He wants to graduate the Marshal Institute, obviously. He wants to be the Marshal King, obviously. But what he really wants to do is become the Marshal King by tracking down all of the pieces of the Marshal King's armor, his equipment. So we kind of have a roadmap for this series now, which is something I kind of wanted for a while. So I could easily see this series being like 200 chapters, 230 chapters, at the least like 180. So I would say at the least, how many? Let's see. Excuse me. So the Promised Neverland is 20 volumes. So I would say I could definitely see. So I think Fire Punch is something like 15 volumes, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 12. Marshal King is about the same length, if I'm not mistaken, because it's like 25 pages a chapter. So that being said, I could definitely see, I could see Marshal King getting at least 15 volumes. But Party Jams, by the way, you wanted me to remind you about Hero Organization today. Yeah, so I mentioned this, I brought it up before, but let me talk about Hero Organization for a second. Fire Punch is 8 volumes, so I would say Marshal King would probably be longer than that, considering it has a more concrete goal, and Boichi could probably drag that out a bit, maybe like 12 volumes at the least. But again, I have no idea. So Hero Organization is an interesting one. So just let me state my case first. So Hero Organization, obviously I've been catching up to some of the newer Jump Plus manga. I'm caught up on Centuria. I'm caught up on Mad. Chainsaw Man Dandadan. I don't read Kaiju number 8 anymore. I'm very behind on Spy Family. Ooh, that's a good point. Blitzdrake said the fact that he didn't take any money was foreshadowed by the fact that he asked what was free at the cafeteria, and he just drank a bunch of water. So that's a good point. Thank you, Blitzdrake. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. Yeah, Blitzdrake brings up a good point. Thank you, Blitzdrake. A lot of Americanism lately, yeah, for sure. So Chainsaw Man Dandadan, I don't really read Kaiju number 8 or Spy Family. So that being said, around the same time I read Centuria and Mad. After that, I read Hero Organization. Now, Hero Organization is, according to Manga Plus, 18 chapters long. I think I'm on like chapter 15, something like that. Excuse me. So, Hero Organization is like roughly 18 chapters. Or it's 18 chapters. I'm like 15 chapters in. I read it and I liked it, but I have some thoughts. So, if we look at the top 30, or it's technically the top 40, so Hero Organization, as far as I've been aware of it, has not really ever been in the top 10. I think at one point it was kind of hovering around the top 15. But for the last month or so, I would say, it's been kind of bouncing between top 20 and top 30. And for a newer manga, that's not so great. Because closer to the top 30 is more manga like Gokurakugai, Make the Exorcist Fall in Love, Chojin X, Marriage Toxin, like manga that have all been around for at least a couple of years. Hero Organization is a pretty brand new manga, right? Again, it's only got 18 chapters. And yet, it's really not in the top 20 anymore. It's getting closer and closer to like the top 30. So, do I think it's on a decline necessarily? No, I just don't think it's like the hottest thing right now. So what do I think, having read like 15 chapters, what do I think of Hero Organization? I like the basic premise. I like the mechs. I want more mech manga. Ashi said, did I catch up to Dr. Stone? I'm an episode and a half behind. I was in the process of watching the episodes before the stream, and I didn't have enough time, unfortunately. I was making thumbnails and working on videos and watched the episodes after lunch, and I didn't have enough time. Excuse me. So Hero Organization I like generally, and again I'm going to keep this spoiler free. So first of all, I'll just make this simple. Does Shonen Ouji think Hero Organization is worth checking out? Yes. I think some people will like it more than others. I did not like the first couple of chapters. I was like, you know, not for nothing, this seems kind of basic, right? It kind of just seems like a spin on Kaiju number 8. And then chapter 2 happens and you get that big plot twist. Excuse me. And you're like, oh, okay. So this is what we're doing. All right. And then you get in the next few chapters and you see the time skip and you see what happened to that one little girl. And you're like, oh, okay. This is pretty cool. All right. I like the mechs. I like the... I basically like the characters. So as a whole, I would probably give Hero Organization like a 6 or 7. On a good day, a 7, but probably more like a 6. I want to love it, but I just kind of like it. Again, it's been like a month or so since I've read this manga, so it's not super fresh in my mind, but my one main problem is I'm not so sure how I feel about the whole mystery. Again, if I were to do like a proper review of this, I would have to sit down and read it again from beginning to finish. But I remember feeling like the mystery didn't really grip me because it like does kind of like an Oshinoko thing where it's like, okay, I'm going to infiltrate the industry and like take down this guy, right? That's like a D-bag. And I also am not crazy about the main character. He's fine, but he's kind of just whatever. I feel like the most interesting character is either the girl, like the girl who grew up, or the one teacher with like the robot arm who's like a badass. Other than that, I do like the world generally. I like the basic premise, and I really like the mechs and the designs. I'm just not crazy about the characters yet, and I'm not sold on like the premise as far as the mystery. So, is it worth reading? Absolutely, especially since it's sci-fi and I want to see more sci-fi manga. But as far as this one, I'm like, kinda. I do wonder how Jim will develop with how strong he already is. Yeah, that's a good question because I mean he's already like low diffing people, right? Like he's already like soloing like desperado raids. So I have to imagine, I think what's gonna happen is there's gonna be villains that have some of these like super magnums and they're just gonna totally destroy Jim because they're just more powered up than he is. So yeah. Also, Party Jams, I just saw your reply to Panel Focus about Marshal King with the Kachi Akuta meme, and that was awesome. Anyway, yeah. Marshal King is okay. I'm not sold on it yet. As far as as far as Jump Plus goes, it's in a really good spot right now. Chainsaw Man is doing good. Dawn to Dawn is doing great. People are still reading Kaiju number 8. I feel like I never see anyone talk about that manga, but people are still reading it, which is, you know, good. Spy Family still super popular. Marshal King. So I said this in my review, but I would just like to reiterate it. I am convinced that if Marshal King gets good enough, it could at one point break the top 5. I really do believe that. What's up, what's up, everyone? My first time checking out the channel. Well, hello. Tiberius. What's going on, Tiberius? Pleasure to have you. Welcome to the channel. We're talking about Marshal King, Dr. Stone, Jump Plus. I personally am not a One Piece fan, but Boichi's art in his Ace spin-off goes crazy. Yeah, I like the Boichi art for Ace, but a lot of One Piece fans didn't like it. But as far as Marshal King goes, especially in today's chapter, the art was crazy good. To be fair, recent reveals in Kaiju were interesting. Not worth catching up, though. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I just feel like Kaiju number 8 is consistently just more of the same. I feel like... Yeah, Eden's exactly. I forget Kaiju is still going sometimes. Yeah, it's just one of those manga that people are still reading, and it's like, okay, cool. As far as other manga go, Marriage Toxin is in an interesting spot. Did they announce an anime for that series yet? No. I feel like there was Marriage Toxin news recently. I can't remember what, though. Marriage Toxin is still consistent. I don't really see anyone talk about it anymore. I see people talk about Make the Exorcist Fall in Love all the time. I might need to read that one again because I did not really like it the first time I read it. Please see the title of Crunchyroll's recent video, especially Dr. Stone. Bro, whoever manages the Crunchyroll YouTube channel is wild. And I mean, good for them. They get views and it gets people watching the stuff and checking out these anime. Because, I mean, realistically, that's how, like, half of the fandom, like, finds out and decides to check out new anime. They see videos about it, and they're like, oh, that's funny. All right, I guess I'll check out that anime. And then, like, a week later, they're like, all right, this is my new favorite anime now. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay, videos, here we go. That's awesome. Dr. Riz. I have to feel like I might have had a small part in that. Even though my Senku video, the Senku video did well. It didn't blow up or anything, but it did okay. It got like 12,000 views, which was more than I expected, to be honest. Yeah, on a side note, it's kind of crazy. Again, I'm not hyping myself up here. I'm just trying to be objective as possible. Did something just blow up? Yeah, sorry. That was, I went to go to the Crunchyroll channel. Sorry about that. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. I went to the Crunchyroll channel and I accidentally clicked on a Demon Slayer video. What was I saying? Oh, so it's funny you bring up that video. Excuse me, Dr. Riz. And I'm not making this up. If you go to the Crunchyroll channel, Dr. Riz, Dr. Stone Science Future. Obviously, I had the unspoken Riz of Senku video, but as objectively as I can be, or as objective as I can be, I really do feel like, or it really does seem like my Okarun video had a noticeable influence on anime and manga YouTube, because obviously the romance in Dandadan was such a hot topic that everyone was talking about it, but there were a number of videos that basically went for the same shtick, like, oh, this is how Okarun picked up Momo, basically. And you can even see this, and this is not a call out. I'm not saying they copied me. I'm not bad mouthing them. I am just saying I have to imagine they were influenced by my video. But if you go to Anime Balls Deep, their last solo leveling video is called The Unspoken Riz of Sung Jingwoo. Now, here's the thing. I am also going to be uploading a very similar video with a very similar title. Granted, Anime Balls Deep has a bigger team than I do. They're also a bigger channel. So it's kind of expected that they were going to beat me to the punch. Now, that being said, it's kind of funny to see this whole, like, anime Riz character trend gaining more and more traction. To that note, I am going to try and do more of those types of videos because people seem to really like them, and they're also really fun to make. As a matter of fact, you can expect a video like that for Jingwoo this weekend that I had a lot of fun making. And I will probably end up making a lot more. But so to get back to what I was saying, I have to think that whoever is on the Crunchyroll social media team was at least slightly influenced by my Dr. Stone video. It would be cool to see anyway. Jingwu has motion. I'm not sure what that means. Jinwoo doesn't have Riz. Chahane says otherwise. The official baddie of solo leveling would say otherwise. Sister leveling, yeah, that's a very weird trend that, while I do see the humor in it, I'm not the biggest fan of, because I just think it perpetuates a social trend that I do not want anything to be. I don't want anything to do with whatsoever. It's gross. It's icky. It can be funny for like 2 seconds, but it's kind of gross, especially with all of the weirdos in the anime community. I hope they don't change the title anytime soon. Yeah, they tend to change the titles of videos sometimes, like enough to notice. Have I done a Natsu Riz video? No. That's not a bad idea though. Having motion basically means there's conversation and hype around it. These kids making up. Wasn't it like Flow? Motion? Is that the new one? Motion? I might have to ask my hip young editors about that one. Having motion means having connections, the ability to gain or achieve large sums of money, accomplish things at a good speed. Yeah, so it kind of sounds like a combination of charisma and aura, but like more blue collar, I guess. He is about to go to Urban Dictionary. I mean, that's literally, it's not a joke. That's literally what I did. I went to Urban Dictionary. That's how old I am. I see these new words like fire and aura, and I'm like, what are these kids talking about with their hip and hop and their rock and roll music? With their drugs and their rock and roll and their music television. Anyway, that's going to be it for the stream. The last thing I will say before I close out is, as of this morning, I finished Radiant. For those of you who didn't hear me say it earlier, I should say I caught up to Radiant. I read whatever was the latest chapter, chapter 147, I believe, 146. So I'm like all the way through volume 19, basically. Easy 9 out of 10. We're too old for this nonsense. Well, you know, as much as I would like to say that, I'm also in an industry where the average demographic is substantially younger than I am. So unfortunately, or whether I would like to or not, I need to be hip with it, as the kids would say. Or maybe they wouldn't say that. I don't know. I'm too old. Anyway, Radiant, easy 9 out of 10. It's awesome. All the characters are awesome. The art is amazing. The story is godly. Unparalleled, in my opinion, story writing. I would say the best thing about Radiant is the character writing. I really do feel like Radiant has some of the best character writing out of any manga, period. Not just shonen manga. 147 is the newest one, I think. Okay, so yeah, I read up through 147. Also, if you didn't see my tweet, I'm very much a supporter of the very clearly canon Seth and Okoho ship. So Justin keeps saying Dr. Stone turns 8 years old today. Let's see. Dr. Stone Chapter 1 release. Dr. Stone came out March 6th, 2017. So 3 and 5. So Dr. Stone is 8 years old today. Holy science. That is a lot of Dr. Stone. Man, again, it just goes to show what a fake Dr. Stone fan I am. I'm clearly doing it for the clout, for the mainstream popularity. I hate Dr. Stone, and I don't really even like talking about it. I just talk about it for the clout. Otherwise, I would have known that without anyone telling me. Anyway, another great stream. Dr. Stone is 8 years old today. I'm going to go watch Dr. Stone. So far, the anime continues to be amazing. Also, I really liked what I believe was anime additional content for Xeno as far as like his Helium-3 project getting rejected. I thought that was really cool, and it fleshed out his character a bit more. Or it gave more context to his character, I suppose. So Dr. Stone is good. Dr. Stone, 8 years old. Marshal King is good. I fully expect it at some point to break into the top 5 of Manga Plus. We shall see. But I'm fully invested in that manga. I feel like after Chapter 5, it's a must read. And yeah, that's it. Look out for a Unspoken Riz of Jing Woo video this weekend. I had a lot of fun making it, and I think you guys will have fun watching it as well. Besides that, I'll see everyone Sunday. Thank you, everyone. And thank you again to Tiberius for popping into the stream today. Pleasure to have you. Hope we see you soon. All right, everybody. Peace.